Yo, what is up, my dudes? Welcome to another video. We are talking about currently today the Serpent AU cheating scandal. Basically, Serpent got exposed for cheating by EJ Ladd, and I gotta say, just first thing, I really like both of these guys, both Serpent and EJ Ladd. I think personally make great YouTube videos, but today I wanted to break down the arguments from both sides. I didn't want to make a video about this right away because EJ Ladd dropped the video 3 days ago, and then Serpent dropped his own video explaining his own side of things and how he's not cheating and an explanation of the whole macro situation. So we're going to break down EJ Ladd's video first, and then we're going to get into whether or not Serpent was cheating when we go over his video. I think it's going to be a really cool video today. We're going to talk a lot about macros, aimbots, and honestly, I was bamboozled when I first watched EJ Ladd's video. I honestly thought that Serpent might be cheating, might be using aimbot, and I really had my mind changed a little bit. So yeah, let's get into it.
So just to give you blokes a better picture of what it actually looks like to use macros on Fortnite, I have an example here for you guys that a friend of mine named Gary has whipped up in about 2 minutes. So I'm going to quickly skim through and explain what he's actually doing and the reasoning behind it. Alright, here we are. So I think Big Gary's getting a bit horny and trying to expose someone else in this clip, but this video is about Serpent, so we're not going to worry about that. Now he's going to come down here and he's going to change his building edit to G and his select building edit to F. Now when using macros, you need to have two select building edits binded. Okay, so he's going to open up his little macro program. They all look a bit different. As you can see here, macro recording settings, and he's going to put in his little sequence here. He's going to press G. Yep.
So basically the idea here is that he's using a macro program. Now that being said, basically every keyboard, any pro keyboard comes with a built-in macro program. Let me just show you this right now. Like if I go to my Razer Synapse, I have a Razer keyboard. If I just open up the program for Razer, literally right here, there's a thing that I can build my own macros. You can see I currently don't have any macros. I play controller, so I don't bother to use those. I don't use any kind of cheats of any kind, but it's built into your actual macro program. So physically having that on your computer doesn't actually prove anything, but EJ's explanation kind of makes it make sense, and it's probably one of the most damning things in the accusation video against Serpent. Now, the reason that EJ thinks that this is such a good proof of macros is because when Serpent actually revealed his binds, it's the exact same setup, his select building edit, he has two of them. This is not necessarily ridiculous. I wouldn't call this conclusive proof because you could literally just have any kind of double bind. When they actually give you like the default binds on keyboard, there are some binds that actually straight up just have two binds for them. So this is not 100% proof, but it is interesting. There's normally you'd have no need to have two select building edits. That's the thing. If you're playing on controller like I do, that'd be the equivalent of having like your R2 to selecting edits and then also L2. It wouldn't make any sense on controller. So it is an interesting point.
Times in a second. So F1 is the bind he has macroed and set to G, which is his edit bind. So every time he presses G, this little macro software runs its little sequence he's programmed and does everything for him. Now, most of you have probably seen how fast Serpent's edits are, and I could probably sit here for an hour and point out clips that are just not humanly possible. But for time purposes, I'm going to skip straight to when he first started using macros and show you where it all began. Now, I knew for a while the exact video that he first started macroing in, but I could never fully prove it. But until recently, I was talking to an old friend of Serpent's who also believed that Serpent uses macros, and he showed me some old, very, very horny DMs. Okay, so here we are, and the conversation starts with Serpent saying...
Basically, just to summarize this, basically this person is asking, or Serpent is asking this person who was showing macros on Twitter how to actually use macros, and they were talking about how OP that would be. And there's one point where the guy who knows how to do the macros says that you can't use scroll wheel reset with it, and Serpent says, okay, that's perfect because I don't use scroll wheel reset already. Again, it's not damning. It's not really like Serpent confessing to using macros, but it's all kind of circumstantial evidence, and that's what EJ Ladd is using to like build his case.
I checked the dates of the messages. I then went to Serpent's channel, got up the video where I knew he first started macroing in, and lo and behold, the dates matched up perfectly. On September 4th, Serpent first learned about macros and said he was definitely going to use them, and on September 15th, 11 days later, he posted his first video using macros. The perfect amount of time to make a full quality video. Now as we jump on Serpent's channel here and we scroll down a bit, we're going to
make note of this video.
Called Editing So Fast I Break the Game. Now this is the video that he blew up on. You can see
and I literally reacted to this video already on my channel.
And bang. And this is the video he first started macroing in, and here folks is the clip that sells it all. Look at that. That is a fucking macro if I've ever seen one.
So that clip right there, keep that in mind, because Serpent explains that in his video, and it doesn't actually help Serpent's case, but we're going to get into that because that's what makes this whole debate a really interesting thing.
Clip also, he's done about 30 edits in half a second. That is just not fucking possible.
Yeah, so that's major sus, right? Like, that looks so sus. It's hard as a controller player to necessarily understand what you're going to be looking at. You might be like, oh, he's got so many keybinds, so he can do that. But really, realistically, just being able to rapid-fire edit like that is not really possible humanly outside of having some kind of robotic program enhancing that, right? So this is a really great point from EJ, pointing to macros, and he really does hit the nail on the head here, I think.
The 15th of September. Fucking look at that, mate. That is utter bullshit. And you can just tell as time goes on, he just gets that little bit quicker. Look, you can tell he just gets that tiny bit faster. And we're going to have a look at this clip a bit later, and when I slow it down, you are going to lose your fucking lollies. Now, you probably thought using macros to edit faster was sad enough. Well, this is when it gets seriously twisted, folks. I'd advise everyone watching to have a second pair of underwear on hand, because what you're about to hear is going to make you shit so hard you will bleed. So only until recently I learned that you could
What's wrong with you, J-Man? So the next thing he talks about is Serpent using Aimbot and combining that with a macro that does automatic rotations for you. So basically, the idea here is you can click a button on your keyboard, your character will do a full rotation automatically, and then also adding in an Aimbot into that so as that your character will basically automatically snap onto heads. That's the accusation here, just to explain it.
Footage from a man claiming Serpent to have been using Aimbot. Now, we're going to get into that soon, but if you take a look.
So this is the clip right here that like is part of his evidence.
This flick is a robotic-like.
It is nuts.
The exact
it's
same
absolutely
thing I was
nuts.
just talking about before. Starting position, bang, straight back where he started, straight lock, hard as a cock. I then investigated further and found multiple clips with the exact same 360-degree turn. Now, if we look at this clip here, I've got it on 0.25
so he's right on the player,
speed, and you see he's looking at his head, bang, straight back on the character's head.
So it wasn't a headshot either.
I haven't actually gone through the juicy part of this whole clip. I am gonna soon. You probably think that's just a normal regular 360 flick. No, there's more to the story. But I'm just trying to show you that he is macroing 360s. We will get to the sugar soon.
Okay, so I will say one thing about the 360s and the spins. If you're like perfectly lined up for a shot on somebody, keyboard and mouse players can literally like judge the exact distance on their desk that sliding their mouse will make a flick. I know people who literally mark out on their desk how much a full rotation is. And so that part where the fact that he can do a full 360, a perfect 360, there are keyboard and mouse players who can practice that and perfect that. I don't think it's the strongest evidence against Serpent in this video, but there's another clip in this that gets really sketchy,
Even in this clip here, he's even mentioning 360 flick. You fucking little dodgy cunt. So Serpent does not only use macros for his edits, but he uses them for his flicks. If you are a bit on the edge of anything I've said in this video so far, I am warning you, this last segment will have you losing your fucking mind. So sit back, grab some popcorn, and try not to shit yourself. So this clip in the video that this man has called Serpent out for aimbotting, I've gone out of my way and I've found it in his actual video. And I'm warning you now, folks, this is some of the most fucked up shit you will ever see. So as I play this clip normal speed, you don't think much of it. It's a nice little 360 flick. But when I slow it down, folks, you are going to lose your mind. Are you ready for this? I don't think you're ready for this. So as I go through frame by frame here, you see Serpent flick past his enemy. He has flicked past this bloke, and watch this, folks. He's going back onto his head. Back on to his fucking head. And then bang! Straight back to where he started. What the fuck?
So that's the clip that I first watched this video and I said, man, that is so sus, because my brain was thinking of it like he was doing a full 360, right? So he clicked the button on his keyboard, his player does the rotation, but then the aimbot cues in, and as he's overtaking the opponent in the rotation. It flips back onto his head again, hits the shot, and then finishes the 360. That's what my brain thought was going on. Serpent explains this in his video. Let's just watch it one more time, though.
Literal aimbot. As you can clearly see, he goes past him, again, comes back onto his fucking chin, and then goes round back to where he started. That is a 360 macro with a fucking aimbot. So I went back.
So that's like easily the most sus clip in this entire thing. He also does a interview kind of with a person who runs a Discord for cheating, plays Fortnite, but I don't really like this evidence against Serpent. It's weird. It's somebody who's selling cheats, and he never actually says that Serpent is cheating. EJ just kind of asks some questions about it, and he gives him like the shush emoji. It's not really that telling, and I don't know, man. I don't really like to include that in the video because it's really weird evidence. But that last flick is definitely sus. So we're going to go to Serpent's video now and listen to his explanations about the macroing and about the aimbotting. All right, so this is what I'm most interested in, is the aimbot accusation.
His biggest accusations against me was that I'd purchased and used the public aimbot. His evidence was DMs between him and one of the most known aimbot suppliers. The supplier had made it seem as if I'd purchased aimbot from him. Before I show you me and the supplier's DMs, I'd like to point out that in EJ's first ever messages with this supplier, he doesn't call me by name, he just calls me by him, and the supplier just mysteriously knows that he's talking about me. This alone is more proof that the conversation between EJ and the aimbot supplier is not the first conversation they've had about me with each other. In the supplier's Fortnite aimbot Discord where he sells his aimbot, there's no channel to type in, so it's obvious that they planned out this conversation. On top of this, here are my full DMs on both Twitter and Discord with the supplier. That proves I never once asked about purchasing aimbot. I was only ever in contact with him to ask him about another pro Fortnite player accused of using his aimbot. I'll get to that soon. All the supplier wanted me to do was promote his services, to which I refused. I can't even start to explain how stupid this claim is. If you do any research, you'll know that the aimbot the supplier sells has been detected for a very long time and banned multiple times. I would have gotten banned if I had ever used this. If what he's saying was true, why would I not include more aiming clips in my videos? Why wouldn't my flicks be 100% accurate? A cheat can't replicate human error, which is easily shown in the next section. How would I even use the aimbot for so long without getting detected and banned? How would I still be using it despite it needing updates for every Fortnite patch? Why would I not play in competitive tournaments and win money from aimbotting? He's making me out to be someone who scams their audience. Hacking in tournaments with detected aimbot sounds a lot like another one of EJ's friends, K-Quid, who was perma-banned in the middle of FNCS.
Oof.
About a month ago, I exposed K-Quid of the real reason why he was banned, showing actual proof of him having cheat files. Ever since then, he has been promising a response, but he hasn't said anything. Well, that's because he has been working with EJ to try to ruin my career for exposing him. It would make sense for him and this aimbot supplier that he is in contact with to try to tarnish my reputation like this. In EJ's video, he also made the accusation that I used a program to perfect 360 flick with a macro and shoot with the same aimbot. This hand cam I'm about to show you proves that my flicks are 100% human with no type of macro or program running.
Alright, so again, I have a final mouse, so it has no.
So he's a wrist aimer. Let me move my head here.
Here's Razor Synapse again, no macros. And then back to Task Manager. You can go through this. Nothing. Alright, now for the flicks. I'm obviously not going to hit a flick first try. I don't hit every flick, but for the ones I do, I put in my videos.
So the thing that's interesting about this, and that really bamboozled me at the start, is I thought he was doing 360 flicks, and that's why that clip that EJ showed was so sus. What he's actually doing is 180 flicks, but in both directions. So he's flicking 180, hitting the shot, and then flicking backwards. And oftentimes he shoots his shot while he's rotating and then turns back to center. It's really kind of a weird way to hit flick shots, but you can literally see his wrist doing the exact movement. And so it makes sense when you watch it with a hand cam. But at the same time, when you were watching it from EJ's perspective, it really did look like aim lock. Oof.
Here is also the slowed down recording of the previous flicks, showing the same flicks that EJ had slowed down from my videos and described as literal aimbot.
Yeah, so it looks like he's over-rotating, right? Like, that's the trippy thing about it. But you can see right there, his wrist is whipping back. And that's the thing. My brain, and I'm sure a lot of you guys did, and EJ did, thought it was a 360 flick.
Frame by frame. It's because people think that I'm shooting while doing a full 360, which is wrong. When I flick, I do a 180, shoot my gun, then 180 back to where my crosshair originally was. The muzzle flash of the gun I'm using, the actual gunshot, and the pellet indicator all don't sync up, which is something you can test for yourself. I also play super high sensitivity, which makes it look snappy. As for his claims of me using edit macros, he has also some hand cams of me doing the same spam editing as shown in all of my videos.
Alright, so I have a Final Mouse which has no mouse software. I have a Razer keyboard, and on my Razer sign up says, you don't have any macros yet, so I don't have any macros on this. And if you go to my task manager, we have no other applications, no remap.
He's got to change his smoke detector battery, though. That's the only thing I'm seeing him guilty of so far, dude.
If you go to my settings in Fortnite. Alright.
Okay. It's hard to really see a whole lot
This
of anything.
accusation
But...
is honestly just embarrassing for EJ. If you're gonna call me out for clip splitting, at least know what you're talking about. I show more than one clip that isn't even a clip split. The clip he showed.
Okay, so this is clip splitting. I don't even really care about this part of it. That's just like basically a person chopping their clips together and to make it look better. Like, that's just an editing trick. It's not really anything to do with cheating.
EJ made at the end of his video is related to this screenshot, where the same aim assist on keyboard and mouse Twitter account from the Cake with Exposed said that I wanted to promote their product. As you can see from our DMs, I was never interested in promoting their product. I was tagged in a tweet and asked some questions about it. Before I end this video, I do want to state one thing that EJ got right. Back in early September 2019, a creative player started posting videos of him using an Insta-edit method on Twitter. I asked him about this in DMs and he explained how it works and how he'll clickbait with it and use it. At the time, I had about 2k subs and averaged roughly 2k views a video. This concept was not a big thing at all back then and was completely new to the community. I thought it would be a good video idea to use it for a clip. Immediately after that video, I realized I had potential with my YouTube career, and I knew I didn't want to build my brand around deceiving my audience. Since the 5 seconds of me using the exploit in my video, I decided to take responsibility and only post videos with my own edits, which have all been completely legit, as shown in my videos and the hand cams. I hope you can listen to what I've said in this response and form your own opinion with my side of the story. One thing that everyone watching cannot deny is that the aimbotting DMs are fake. The flick and edit macroing claims are proven false and the clip splitting claim is just ridiculous. Although EJ said he wasn't trying to ruin my career, he never asked me for my side like he said he would in the videos prior to the exposing video. It doesn't matter what his intentions were, I've already gotten thousands of hate messages and comments from the entire community on every platform. I was used to fit his narrative for the content at the cost of the hours I put into making my content every day. Everything other than the DMs were backed by circumstantial evidence. Thank you for listening to my response, and I hope you continue to support me.
So it's really interesting. Basically, Serpent confessed to using macros, but says that it's only for some of the first videos that he blew up with on his channel. Obviously, that kind of sucks. Like, obviously, you don't really want to blow up on YouTube under false pretenses. But does it mean that Serpent is macroing now? I personally don't really think so. But I want to know what your guys' thoughts are. Do you guys think that Serpent is currently macroing? Or has he given it up? Honestly, a lot of his edits, even with a macro, requires a high degree of skill, even if you were using one, because you have to hit all of those individual drag edits, and you have to hit them in fast succession. And me personally, I don't think he's macroing anymore. With regards to the aimbot thing, I also think he's completely clear on that. A lot of the evidence that EJ Ladd had was circumstantial, except for that clip that made him look like he was whipping partway through on a 360, when in reality, he was actually doing 180 flicks. So that itself makes a lot more sense as well. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Let me know in the comments down below. Drop a like on this video if you guys enjoyed this type of content. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Appreciate you very much. Hope you guys have a fantastic day.